It's the FA Cup final, Chelsea versus Leicester. We're going to preview it. You're going to get the chance to have your say. Big Haaland news as well. Chelsea in talks with the agents and representatives with a bid expected. Hit that like button. Hit the share button. Here we go. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. A huge weekend, a historic weekend. FA Cup final day tomorrow. For me, my family, doesn't matter who's in it. It's a very, very special day indeed. One that I cannot wait to enjoy, to absorb the match day feeling. No matter where you are in the world, you can enjoy it. The build-up, the history, the anticipation, the angst for one of the biggest sporting finals, one of the biggest sporting climaxes on planet Earth. We're here to preview that today. We're going to get onto that in detail a little bit later. We've got David, we've got Daniel, we've got Conroy coming on to join us as well. We will be taking your calls to discuss this final, going through team news, injuries, predictions. That is all to come in about 30 minutes time. About 30 minutes time. So really looking forward to going through all of that with you. Good evening, Twisted Bubba. And you're right, to the rest of the Football Terrace family. Hello, how are you all doing? I hope that you're all well. I hope that you're all well. I want to know how you're feeling about this final as well. As football fans, as Chelsea fans, as Leicester City fans tuning in, how are you feeling about this final? Who do you think has the edge right now? Where do you feel it's going? That's what I'm so intrigued to find out. Sean here. Wagwan Terry. I'm good. Like a very good day today. Very good day today. Yes, cannot lie. It's been very, very good. Terry, City and Chelsea next decade rivalry. Do you know what? It's too difficult to predict that. This time 12 months ago, we would have said City Liverpool. The last 3 years, we were saying City-Liverpool decade rivalry. Suddenly, everybody's writing Liverpool off as though they're no marks. I think that's mad. They're going to be involved, there's no doubt. And teams will drop off. Teams will drop off. But I think next season, as an absolute definite, it's going to be between those two teams. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. Arjan says, good evening from India, Terry. Michael Zott made it clear Haaland won't leave. He will have to explore other options. Chelsea have the edge. Cover is back. We're going to get onto Haaland in a few moments, but let me just say this now. I know last year, Michael Zorg said Sancho wouldn't leave. Sancho didn't leave. That's because Man United would run awfully, and we didn't get the bids in within time. That's why it didn't happen. Every player at Dortmund is for sale at the right price, in my opinion, at the right price. Dortmund are in a sticky situation when it comes to Haaland because he has the buyout clause next year. If they make the Champions League, they're going to be firmer on that price. If they miss out on it, it's 40-50 million pounds they're going to lose. And of course, teams are willing to pay over 100 million pounds for Haaland this summer. They won't be doing that next year because of the buyout clause. But great point, and thank you for that super chat, my guy. Thank you. Let's do some more of your comments coming through here. What is Wagwan? Well, it just means what's going on, essentially. Baz, that's what it means. Yes, that's it. Yes, Lee Chappie in the house. Bro, I'd love to get you on at some point. Just send me a text. We've got numbers. We'll send you a link. We'll get you on to come and have your say. What you all thinking about the new Football Terrace graphics as well? Like the overlays and things. I hope you're liking them. More to come a little bit later. But I want to, before we go into the preview, I really do want to speak about the news in relation to Haaland. And this is such interesting news that's come out. Such interesting news relating to Haaland as well. Report this afternoon. This has come from the Chelsea Talk podcast, which is run by Simon Phillips. They had one of the leading Norwegian journalists on there. Christophe Theroux, I think it's pronounced, along those lines. And they were talking about the deal. And he says here that Chelsea have begun talks with the agent. And this is him word for word. He says there have been talks. They have been in touch with his agent and with his father. It's at the very early stages. And of course, it's difficult to predict what's going to happen. There have been no offers yet by Chelsea, but Chelsea are always late with making offers. So the suggestions here from Norwegian journalists is that teams are still talking to the representatives. Teams are still talking to the agents. Teams are still talking about this deal. Nobody, this is my point I was making to you earlier, nobody at this point has come out and said, we might as well stop trying to sign Haaland now because Dortmund have said that he's not for sale. Would I get my hopes up? Would I hold my breath and think of it as a cast iron guarantee? The answer's no. But there we go. Lee says, I'm here ready. Do you know what, Lee? We're doing a proper preview at 5:30, but we'll get you on beforehand. I'm going to send you the link. We'll get you on to come and have your say, buddy. No problems with that whatsoever. I'll send you the link now. I'll do it via my phone. Everyone wants to hear from Lee Chappie, don't they? Everyone wants to hear from Lee Chappie. Remember as well, get your super chat questions in. The best questions, the winner. We'll do 3 best questions tonight, and all 3 names can go into the prize draw to win a Premier League football shirt of your choice. The likes of D1, Arjan, Ginger Fury, along with multiple others. I've got to get all the names off here. I've got them all written down in my... Do you know how many notebooks I've gone through? Notebooks through live streams this season. I counted the other day. 27. Mad. I've got all your names down there. So get your super chat questions in as well. Everybody wants to hear from Lee Chappie, so we're going to get him on to have his say this afternoon. We're going to get him on now. Terry, is Chelsea versus Leicester with fans? I don't know if fans are there this weekend. I don't know the answer to that. I haven't actually checked. Maybe someone will probably know the answer to that on a legit level. I know the Champions League final. Didn't the semi-finals have some fans? No. I swear there was a game recently with fans. The Carling Cup final, yes. Or the Carabao Cup, not the Carling Cup. Sorry, I'm an old man, bruv. I am an old man. There we go. Right. Lee's got the link. When I see him pop in, I'll get him on. 20,000 fans. Okay, there we go. Yes. I never actually looked into it, to be fair. That makes it an interesting affair as well. I'm really excited about that. But as I said, when it comes to the Haaland deal, Chelsea is still talking to the agent, still talking to his father. They will be submitting a bid this summer. He is top of Chelsea's priority list. And according to Simon Phillips, that's the area. That is the area that Chelsea want to fill. That is the area that Chelsea want to put to bed sooner rather than later this summer. That's the area that Thomas Tuchel wants to strengthen above and beyond anything else. Above and beyond anything else. Where do you all think he's going to end up? Whether it be this season or next, where do people actually think he's going to go? A lot of people still think it may end up being on the continent, but we shall see. Let's go to some more of these comments. Lee Chappie will be with us in just a few seconds, ladies and gentlemen. There are going to be fans. I'm seeing different people say 20,000, some saying 12,000. Most of you are saying 12,000. Well, this one says 20,000. I don't know. I'm just going to say, yes, there's going to be fans. Fans are there, Terry, is what Preston has told me. Let's get Lee Chappie on the air now to have his say with us. How you doing, mate?
Yes, thank you for having me on, Terry. I've been buzzing for this fixture. Absolutely out of this world buzzing. It's just mad. FA Cup final. First one since 1969. First one in my generation alive. I can't wait. Buzzing.
Yeah, I bet you can't. I mean, I didn't realise it had been that long. Since 1960.
Yeah, 1969, so 52 years. 52 years.
That's staggering.
Yeah,
staggering.
But it is what it is.
And I don't think it's shocking because we know that the last 25 years has been dominated in a particular way because of the new money that's come in. Because of Leicester's, history. You're not like a gargantuan club.
No.
But you're not tiny either. So
not now. No.
Yeah, I hear you on that. How are you feeling ahead of the game? I mean, you've got some injury problems.
Yeah.
They don't. How are you feeling ahead of the game?
Yeah, we lost our left side for the last probably 10 odd games. We lost James Justin with an ACL. Funnily enough, he came in and replaced Ricardo with an ACL. And then we lost Harvey Barnes, who up and coming England talent, I think, was definitely on the way to the Euros for sure. And he's gone, done, So that left side is our weak point, I think. And Reece James might have a field day against our Luke Thomas, our young lad that we'll probably end up playing. Because I don't think we're going to play Ricardo and Castagna again left and right, because no matter which one goes on the left, they're not as good. So Ricardo's only just returned as well. His form's a little off. I don't know what side Brennan's going to play, especially with no Johnny Evans, if he don't make it, because he's still injured as well.
Yeah, I did read that. I mean, Brendan Rodgers said he hopes to have him back, but that's the tale of the tape between the two teams. Chelsea, Kovacic is going to miss the game, I think, and there's question marks over Christensen, but they have a clean bill of health, a very thick and deep squad. Are you feeling? I mean, how are you feeling ahead of it, though? You got the injury part. Are you feeling confident? Are you nervous?
Yeah. So before the 1-0 last night, the night before, sorry, for Arsenal, turning them over 1-0. Before that fixture, I kind of was like, we'll just have a good day out. That's it. But we're in it. We're in it now, definitely. Anyone can win tomorrow. I think Leicester can throw all their eggs in the basket, to be honest with you. Chelsea have got to worry about a Champions League final still. I'm still not sure if they're going to stamp on that top four or not. After we beat Man United, yes, okay, it probably was their side B. But after beating Man United, I think we are almost guaranteed top four now. So why not throw everything at it? Brennan's got to win this trophy for Vishai, the late owner that fell.
No, I understand that. A lot of the comments are actually. So I read 90 Min's preview to this, which was published only 3 hours ago, and it said that Kovacic was out, but people are now saying that Kovacic is back. So if Kovacic is back, then that's even one less injury problem. It's such an interesting season and turning point for Leicester, though, because you've been excellent again all year. You've got this final, and then you have that, and then you play Chelsea again in the league a few days after, and 2 defeats on the bounce to Chelsea. If Liverpool then go on this, finish their season off well, could mean no trophy, no top four, but 2 wins on the bounce, and it could be silverware and top 4. And arguably, outside of winning the Premier League 4 or 5 years ago, your best season in 50 odd years.
Yeah, without doubt. It's our second best ever Premier League finish anyway, right now, regardless. I get sick to death of people writing bottle jobs. Why are we bottle jobs? We're only just appearing on the scene. It's not like we've been around forever in this top 6 bracket like Arsenal, like Spurs. At least we've won something in the last 5 years. What are Tottenham?
You know what? I think people get misconstrued. I don't call Leicester bottle jobs. I think Brendan Rodgers is.
Do you really think though? Because when you look at Brendan Rodgers, right? He was at Liverpool when he was really young. It was like, I mean, he's young. He's still young now to be a manager, really, but that was one of his earlier jobs. It was it's like Frank Lampard at Chelsea. You can't really say he bottled it. It's too big maybe for him at the time.
Yeah, no, I think at the time it's understandable with his age, but he needs to get beyond that. I think the way you collapsed towards the end of last season as a team, and I know that you're a small squad, there are mitigating circumstances. I get Brendan Rodgers just gives me this vibe of when it comes to the absolute crunch, he's a bit nervous, and I think he puts that across into his teams. However, I've said all along, if he wins this FA Cup or he secures this top 4, that goes away because that's him achieving it. But as I said, if from where you are now, like everything's in your hands still. It's whether or not you can get over that line and everything else. But the football's certainly excellent. I'd love to see you guys win it tomorrow because I think when you watch the FA Cup, you should always want the underdogs.
It will be good for football if Leicester win it. It will be good for football fans as well. Instead of one of the big guns winning it again, it'd be nice to see another side win it. What was it? 7 years ago when Wigan won it? Was it 7 years ago? Something like that. That was mad. That was absolutely mad. So why not? Why not Leicester? Why not?
No, I understand. When you look at Chelsea, who are the real danger men that you're gonna have to either be aware of? Of course, you're aware of the danger men, but who are the danger men that you've got to stop and have a plan for? Do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be Mount. You got to say Mount. And like I said before, down that side, we've got problems down that side. I think Reece James is going to have fun down that side. If he plays tomorrow down that right, I think he's going to have fun up against Luke Thomas. I don't think Luke Thomas is quite there yet, but at the minute he's pushed to. We've got no choice. Got no choice.
Yeah, I hear you on that. And one of your sort of resurgent players in the last few months, he's gone from being, I wouldn't quite call him a zero, but he never really fulfilled his potential at Man City. He goes to Leicester. For me, Iheanacho has very much been on the periphery since he's been there. And then this last couple of months, he's turned into, on form anyway, one of the best strikers in the league. Yeah. Is it someone like him do you see potentially being a big hero tomorrow?
You have to give Jamie Vardy credit for that, although I know he's not scoring. Yeah, I think you have to give Jamie Vardy some credit. I think him and his pace and creating that space. I think Kelechi Iheanacho is the one that's getting the goals. It's not Vardy. It's Kelechi Iheanacho. I think he's getting the scraps and putting them away. He's a clinical finisher. Okay, hands up. I'll admit, I called him. I've called him. A lot of Leicester fans have called him. But he wasn't getting the chance in a 2. Whenever he was played for Leicester, if he got the chance, it was always a lone striker. He is not a lone striker. He's not. He's not a lone striker. He needs someone else with him, someone fast, someone pacey, and that's Jamie Vardy. I still think we do need another striker, Leicester. I think once Jamie Vardy's done, which he will be soon, give or take, we've got to find someone with pace similar to Jamie Vardy. Is there another Jamie Vardy out there? Not so sure. Kelechi Iheanacho is definitely not the man to replace Jamie Vardy, but wow, what a player he's turned into.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Vardy thing's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, to replace Vardy, it's going to cost you 80, 90, 100 million.
Yeah, unreal for a £1 million non-league signing.
Yeah, that's never happening again. I think you must all be aware of that. You're never signing.
Well, Leicester keep doing it, though, to be fair. They do keep doing it.
Well, I suppose it's just a little bit harder to keep them now. I think like Vardy had that affinity because you bought him when you were low and you all came up together. You know, if you signed a £1 million player now from Fleetwood straight into the Prem and he had 2 or 3 good seasons where he was like one of the Golden Boot winners or in the Champions, the likelihood is he'd do more of a Mahrez or a Kante.
But don't forget though, it didn't happen overnight for Vardy. He went straight into the team, like into the Premier League side of Leicester. It didn't work like that. He nearly folded at Leicester. He nearly gave it up because it weren't working for him when he first came in. It was a long-term build into the Championship and whatnot. It's not just like we've signed a non-league player, Premier League, and bang,
Of course.
Yeah, people do skip that bit out.
Is there still a film coming out about his story? Because I remember hearing about it years back, but never saw a film.
No comment. I shouldn't be saying anything because I kind of did speak to the director a few years ago about it at the King Power. And that's where I'll leave it, I think.
Okay. Interesting.
That's hot off the press. Yeah. That was a few years ago though. So I don't know where that's gone.
I just remember. The thing is with a lot of movies, whatever they're about, sometimes they can be in production for 20 years before they actually end up being made or whatever. Yeah. They can take forever.
Yeah. Obviously, I was hoping to get the gig. It's not going to happen.
Be the stunt.
Dear, yeah.
Can I be involved? I hear that. But yeah, it's going to be a real. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. I've got no dog in the fight, so I tend to enjoy the final more if my team isn't in it because I can around the build up. It's just no nerves, if that makes sense.
Mate, my stomach's bubbling. I'm so buzzing for this game.
Are you going to be able to sleep tonight?
No, honestly, it's going to be a restless night. I'm going down London. I'm going to Don Robbie's channel, doing the watch along on his channel tomorrow in the studio with Expressions and some of the other guys. So yeah, it's going to be mad. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, that'll be. Do you know what though? What's good about a day like that is that it's a day out of the norm, and
it is.
It's an element of that'll take your mind off it. To a degree, if that makes sense. You've got something to do. So, the last cup final we were in, I didn't actually work that day. I had a day off from sort of covering it, and I actually went to the game when Chelsea beat us 1-0. So, I hope for your sake that's not a repeat result, if that makes sense. What would your score prediction be, Billy?
I think it's going to be a very scrappy game tomorrow. I don't think it's going to be a finesse FA Cup final. I think it's going to be quite scrappy, and I think Leicester might just nick it. I have a feeling Leicester are going to nick it somehow, some way. A bit like Arsenal the other night. Scrappy 1-0 win. Kelechi Iheanacho.
If you defend well
Yeah. It depends if Johnny Evans is
on the break. There is half a chance of that. It's just if Chelsea score first, they're so hard to break down.
And we're rubbish at breaking teams down. Once you've sat the bus, that's it. Night.
Yeah, who's got to start? Madison's on the bench the other night. Do you think he'll be starting? He has to, surely.
He's got to start, but Terry, his drive and his engine's gone. James Maddison, he's lost his fitness, knee problems, hip problems. The list goes on. His fitness is just way shot. 18 months ago, we were talking about Maddison or Grealish or Maddison, Mount, all these players all in one bracket of who's better than who. Maddison's not in that bracket at the minute. He's just not. He's a talented player, very skillful, technically gifted, but I don't know, something about his engine, it's gone at the minute. But he will start. It won't be Perez as number 10. God, I hope it's not anyway.
No, I hear you on that. Yeah, it's an interesting one with Maddison. I know he's had the injuries and everything else, but players always go through these peaks and troughs, don't they? It's it's an interesting one because you could have cashed in him a year ago for 78, well, about 2 years ago.
Exactly.
And I always say this about a lot of players. Sometimes clubs hold on a little bit too long, and then they can have a bad year or two, and then it's the money's gone, the money's dropped out, the valuation's gone now, as it were. But there we go. Listen, Lee, I appreciate you coming on, mate, and
I appreciate it.
Your time during the show today, mate. Good luck tomorrow, and have fun on Don Robbie's channel, mate.
Yeah, man, it's going to be good. Just follow me at Lee_Chappie on Twitter and Insta. I shall see you all tomorrow on the show, maybe. I don't know. Thanks for having me on, Terry. Take care of yourself, man.
Cheers, Lee. Take care, mate. Bye-bye. Thank you. Make sure you're all hitting that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Dave is backstage. We'll be getting him, Daniel, and Conroy on from around about 5:30. Ro here says, they say bottle jobs because you do not challenge to retain your previous season's achievements. You always sell your best players. Is what Roa said there about Leicester City. We did have another super chat that came through actually from Monsieur Ahmed that says, how is Vardy still quick at 34? Needs to share the secret. He's not made of much, is he? It's in he's quite wiry, thin. Like I can imagine if you gave Jamie Vardy a cuddle, you could get a paper cut. Do you know what I mean? Like he's thinness, got that speed still. There we go. Let's do some more of these comments that are coming through here for you all. Stephen says, at least I can watch the FA Cup final as a neutral, as I need one of Chelsea or Leicester to lose the Prem next week. Well, one of them will. You've got to remember, Liverpool fans, one of, if not both, of Chelsea and Leicester will drop points in the league next week. It is a cast iron fact. It cannot be denied or argued with. It's a fact. One or both are dropping points. Liverpool, it's in your hands. You don't even need to worry. You don't even need to worry about the game. You don't even need to watch it because someone is dropping points. You don't even need to worry. It's done. It's such an interesting one as well, as you say, because Rodgers is going to be labelled a bottle job if he loses this final and then loses the game to Leicester. On the flip side of that, if Chelsea lose this final and lose to Leicester and fall out the top 4, the same could be. They're not going to call Tuchel a bottle job, but what a disappointing end to the season. Chelsea have been so. Can any of you actually see that happening? It's the question I've got for the viewers this afternoon. Could any of you conceivably see Chelsea ending the season with no trophies and no top 4? Could that actually happen? I want to know what your thoughts and feelings are on that. 5 minutes until we get the rest of the panel on to have their say. I do want your thoughts and your feelings about the Haaland news that we spoke about earlier on today. Leading Norwegian journalists have claimed that Chelsea Football Club are in direct conversations with the representatives, the father and, of course, the agent, Mino Raiola, of Erling Haaland. A bid is expected. The bid isn't expected to be soon. Chelsea like to delay these things, but Chelsea are still talking. Although there are rumours that the deal isn't going to happen and Dortmund won't sell, Chelsea are still pursuing this. This is a fact. Ruth here says, no, they are too strong, as if to say they're not going to lose everything. How many do you think they'll win then? So if you think they're going to get something, what are Chelsea going to achieve? I would really like to get a sort of neutral viewpoint, Chelsea fans' viewpoint on this. Daniel says, no, that's not going to happen. Monsieur says, yes, it can. Yes, it can. He super chatted that in. He's confident that Chelsea could end the season with nothing. Anything can happen is what Devin says here as well. Jack says, nah. Just nah. Like it's not happening at all in any way, in any shape or any form. Let's do some more of these comments here. Daniel thinks Chelsea are winning both FA Cup and the Champions League. And the Champions League is what's being said there. That's an interesting one for me to win. But I mean, they can. I mean, Chelsea could. I said it already. If Chelsea win the Champions League and FA Cup and finish in the top four, I think Tuchel's Chelsea have had a better season than Man City. Because, of course, he only came in January. He can't be held accountable for the shenanigans that went on prior to this. He just can't be. Just can't be. Monsieur here says, Chelsea will basically have Brendan Rodgers if they don't win or get top four. Really? Come on, Monsieur. You can't believe that. You can't believe that, my guy. You can't be believing that. You literally can't be believing that. Yeah, Ray, I saw your message, bro. I'll check that out later, my guy. Thank you. Bison here says, Terry, I would want Chelsea to win the FA Cup and drop out of the top four and play in the Europa League. Arteta all over again, winning the FA Cup and enter the Europa League. Come on, Bison. You can't be comparing him to Arteta. From a banter point of view, it'd be amazing. Like, legitimately, if Chelsea were to finish this season with like nothing or an FA Cup but no Champions League, there would be a bit of banter that needs to happen. But maybe that's why Chelsea fans said, can you not have Monstar on here anymore? Because every time Monstar says we're going to win, we end up losing. There we go. Mo says, Bison, you're waffling. Says, you're waffling, Bison. Says, you're chatting waffle. Terry, why wouldn't Tuchel be a bottle job? Because to be a bottle job, it's got to be something that is consistent. As you say, or maybe you're saying consistency in terms of that. Let's say he bottles these two finals this year and bottles the top four race. And then next year, bottles the top four race, bottles an FA Cup final. The following year, bottles a title race. He won't even be here if he does those things, by the way. If he had 2 seasons of bottling big finals or whatnot, he'd be gone. He wouldn't even get a third year. But yeah, he would. But it's about doing it on a consistent basis. Tottenham are the ultimate bottlers because of how often they bottle things. Ollie's been labelled at it, going out 4 semi-finals on the bounce. So Tuchel could suffer the same, but he would need to have the same failures. You can't call him a bottle job after losing 1 final. Steven says, here's a question, Terry. If Chelsea were to win the FA Cup and Champions League, does that make them a good team overall? Of course it does. Of course it does. How they've got there shows they're a good team. Winning the Champions League, they start to move towards the echelon of great teams. Great teams win. There's 2 things you have to do to be a great team: win the Champions League, and with that same core group, win back-to-back league titles. If you don't win back-to-back league titles and a Champions League, you're not a great team. The core group's got to do it. So you look at Chelsea, for instance, their core group that went back-to-back and then won it again in 2010, then won the Champions League in 2012. That core group was the same. Do you know what I mean? Cech, Lampard, Cole, Terry, Drogba. That core was a great team because of what it did. If you don't go back-to-back and if you don't win a Champions League, you can't be great. So if they win that Champions League, they're 1/3 of the way there. 1/3 of the way there. We've got Daniel and David backstage ready to come on very, very soon. So stay tuned with the Football Terrace. We'll be bringing them on very soon to have their say. Dave Kitts here says, Monsieur, you're jealous because Klopp is finished. Ruth does make a great point here. She says the term bottle job is used too often now. It's lost its meaning. Now, I agree. Like, a lot of people are calling Man United's performance last night bottle. Last night wasn't bottle. It was about not being elite. It was about not having the right mentality in a game that, in the grand scheme of things, didn't mean too much to us in terms of league positions. It wasn't a bottle job. You know, it wasn't. If Chelsea lose one of these finals, that isn't bottling it. It really isn't. I think it should be reserved for like continual failure in and around the same stage. So if a team loses 5-6 semi-finals and finals over the space of a 2 or 3 year period, you could probably look and maybe label them that. But you're absolutely right in terms of losing a game. No, not for me. Maybe if you're winning the game 2-0 and you throw it away, but there we go. Okay. Timo Werner is having a better season than Mane and Salah. That's a great point. That's a Terry the politician. That's a weird comment. Very, very weird comment indeed. Terry, any club can win the Champions League. But that isn't true, is it? Not every club can win the Champions League. Arsenal have never won it. Spurs have never won it. City right now have never won it. Look how many teams have only won it once. Only won it twice. Look how many teams enter the Champions League each year. In fact, you can't even win it unless you qualify for it. So not everybody can win it. Come on, bro. That is a wild, even for you, Twisted Bubba, that is a wild statement. That is a wild statement. It really is. Thank you very much, Igal. Appreciate the love. Loads more to come. Been working on these new designs for a while. They might change in terms of the color coding for different things. I'm actually thinking of just keeping this one for Champions League. It's got the Champions League feel about it. But there we go. Where's Conroy at? And where's... Yeah, just Conroy. That's all I'm waiting for now. Where's this Scott at? Where's this Scott at? He's holding up my show. Where's this sweaty sock at? Sweaty sock means jock. It's okay to say that still, I think. It might not be, to be fair. But oh well. Cancelled. I'm done. There we go. There we go. Terry the Crab. That is a madness. We tend to I sidestep everything. You're acting like I don't make or give opinions. That is wild. That is wild. That is wild. It legitimately is wild. See a few more of these comments here. Oh, you guys all going at each other. Aaron here says, how is Werner having a better season than Salah? I didn't think he said Salah. He said Mane and Sterling, did he not? But there we go. We will see. Well, I'm going to chase up Conroy, see where he's at. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Oh, he's giving me 5 minutes late, so we'll leave it 5 minutes. He did actually text me. Oh, look at this. Look at this one. Terry, the white Twix. What? You think that's going to bother me? Like, well, I mean, absolute, mate, the banter, the brain capacity that you, honestly, Declan Scott, Mensa level, bruv. Let's get you into Oxford early with that. At the banter. Amazing. Just so good. Well done. No, the white Twix. Oh, what are you going to call me next? What are you going to call me next? Terry is a teacher. What are you all saying? I'm going to take that as a compliment, I think. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Terry, can you do a combined 11? It's Chelsea's team plus Vardy, isn't it? It's quick and easy. Chelsea's team plus Vardy. Oh, no. Indeed. It's even hard, you know, because who's better? Kante or Ndidi in the middle? Or maybe you're just playing both. Nah, I'll put Jorginho in and I'll put Kante next to him. That's what I'd do. Maybe we'll have a little chitty chat about that later on the show. But there we go. Yeah, I mean, I love Ndidi, but he's not as good as Kante. Kante over Ndidi, 100%. Terry, Modric or Gerrard are the one that's won a league title and 4 Champions Leagues, bro. Straight up. Modric is a much better footballer than Gerrard. Gerrard's a better tackler. Like, so if you need someone to break, like, tackle, I'd go for Gerrard. If you need someone to carry a whole city, I'd probably pick Gerrard. But the better player, Modric, every day of the week. Cheers, Declan. You love me now. I've gone from being a white Twix to being loved by you. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Terry, Haaland or Lukaku? Haaland. Haaland is who I would pick. Someone says, no, Jorginho, you're having a laugh. See, it's not about... Jorginho isn't better. Jorginho isn't a better midfielder than Kante or Ndidi at their individual positions, but it's about balance I'm going for. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't have Ndidi and Kante next to each other because I just don't think the balance would work, personally. Scott McTominay or Fred? Oh, mate, listen. Fred, maybe Scott. I don't care. Awful. Don't actually care. It's not even worth an answer. Mason Mount or Grealish? Oh, that's hard. Mason Mount or Grealish? Grealish. Just Grealish. And that's because of how he wears his socks. He's got nice calves. That's it. That's literally my only. No, listen, Grealish just about. Hardeep here says, would you take baby Schmeichel over Mendy? No. I think Kasper Schmeichel's good, but I don't think he's as good as people make him out to be. If Chelsea sign Haaland and with the present squad, they are ready to dominate European football for the next 5 to 6 years. Is anyone, well, apart from Real Madrid, no one else has done that. So that would be an interesting one. R9 or Henry? Henry. R9 at his peak was better, but man ain't got the man body broke down. So I can watch with hindsight. I'd pick Henry, you get more out of him. That's what I would go with, but both amazing. Mason Mount or Saka? Mason Mount. Salah or Mahrez? Bruv, that's not even a hard question. It's Salah. Salah every day. Henderson or De Gea? Do one. Get out of here. I'm not doing Man United ones today. What's this one saying? We had another super chat that came through. He's now 7 minutes late, Conroy. He's now 7 minutes late for me. Who do you want? I'm confused. Who don't you wanted to get shouted at by? Who don't you want to be? Okay, I get what you mean now. I'm actually more scared of Clough. Clough scared me a bit more, I think, than Fergie. Terry, which United team was great in 99 or 2008? 99, I did a treble. I would say 99. I would just edge 99 with that one. Tillemans or Jorginho? Jorginho. Ndidi or Rice? I would go with Rice. Mbappe or Haaland? I'd go with Mbappe. Ramos or Pulo? Ramos. These are getting harder and harder. Lampard or Rooney? Rooney. What? They don't play the same position. Salah or Giggs? Giggs. Shaw or Chilwell? Shaw. I need to text this man because I can't go bring these two in until he's here because the graphics need everybody. I've only prepared graphics for 4, and otherwise I'll have to log in with my own phone and have like a blank box in the middle otherwise. Super Chat says, if Chelsea don't finish top 4 and don't win any trophies, then can we say Arteta broke Chelsea? I mean, bro, you can say it whenever you want, my guy. You can say that anytime you want. You can say it whenever you want. Sheringham or York? Oh, Sheringham. I love Sheringham. Cole or Evra? Don't do that to me. Cole. Leave me alone. Rashford or Sterling? Rashford. Ziyech or Iheanacho? Up until this season, I'd have said Ziyech. Iheanacho just for this year. I'll give it to Iheanacho for that one. Fried rice or steamed fried rice, bruv? Don't give me that steam nonsense. Fry it up. Fry it up. Werner or Mount. I'm not doing Werner or Mount. Not if they're not the same position, they don't get a shout out now. It's boring. R9 or Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo is a better and greater player than R9 was. Facts. Even at his peak, Ronaldo's peak is better than original Ronaldo's peak, in my opinion. Ronaldo did some amazing things, but Cristiano Ronaldo, the GOAT, bruv. Terry, the calf caresser. I like that. I do like that. Maddison or Mount. Sorry, Maddison or Havertz. It's got to be Havertz. It's got to be Havertz on that one. Neeks or Anita. Why would you? I'm not answering that question. Depends if we're talking about Chelsea or Man United. That's my answer. Terry or Vidic. John Terry, just. There we go. I need to check where this man is. He's on his way. It's all right. I'm only at work. Do you know what I mean? I'm only working. I'm only on a schedule. Suppose that everyone doesn't know that I've set the graphics up. I've even got their names and their handles from like the internet on there, other than David's because he ain't got one. So I made one up for David. You'll all like David's. I had to make one up because the guy, he's a kid that doesn't have social media. That makes me worry. It's like, what's he actually doing? Do you know what I mean? We did find out this week that people do have burner accounts. We saw a big Arsenal contingent having fights on burner accounts, which was quite funny to listen to, if I'm being honest. Terry, Jota or Werner? Jota. Troops or expressions? That's a hard one. But I would go with expressions, just expressions. Just about. Who else we got here? Kante or Vieira? Kante. Sonny or Igal? I'd go with Igal. Igal's my guy. I better get a text off Sonny in the next 10 minutes now. What did you think, Igal? Hush, mate. Hush your gum. Zlatan or Cavani? Do you know what? I'm going with Cavani. I don't even know why. That's recency bias probably, but I'm going with Cavani. Hudson-Odoi or Loftus-Cheek? Does it matter? Does it matter? That would be my response. I don't think it matters. I almost think that it don't matter. Right. I don't know where this guy is, so I'm going to bring the others in. But what I've got to do... Why ain't this working? Oh, my God. I'm actually getting angry. Not at him, at my phone. You know what? It's not working. There we go. I've got to enter this broadcast studio myself. Right. Right. So, how do I do this without camera and mics? Right. So I've got to do this very quickly. The boys are going to be in a few seconds. We'll see you all in a sec. Peace. Oops. There we go. I didn't click that one. There we have it.
Man gave me David is boring. It got me better than that. You got to give me Tory Dave at least.
Yeah, I should have thought of that, but I had it all set up ready, and I have no idea where the man is. So right now, KJ is Conroy, as it is. How are we, gentlemen?
You look at me saving your ass, man. Oh, where is he? Where is he? I need to set up more streams. I need to set more overlays. I got you back. Don't worry, Terry. I have you.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Big game. Big game coming up tomorrow. FA Cup semi. How you feeling about it, David? First final. So
I was going to say.
How you feeling about
it? I'm feeling okay. I'm not too worried right now. I'm sure my nerves will kick in at some point, but I'm going into it quietly confident that we can win both games against Leicester. So yeah, I'm doing fine.
Okay, how about yourself, Daniel? I mean, you had a bit of a shock defeat the other day. Any kind of nerves creeping in?
Nah, because I'd be more nervous if we had beaten Arsenal convincingly, and then we were going into this game and saying, yeah, we're the team. Leicester are definitely not going to win. You know, the Arsenal game has given room for neutrals to say that there's a chance for Leicester to win. Do you know what I'm saying? I think that's what's needed, just from a psychological point of view. And yeah, no, I'm happy. Like I think quietly as well, we can go in and just get the job done and get the first trophy out the way. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yeah, how about yourself? Like from your point of view, KJ, watching this as a neutral, Leicester, no one's really, I've not really read anything where they've been given a chance at all to kind of win this and come out on top. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, they have a chance. They're in the finals. So everyone has a chance, you know what I mean? If you could get it right on the day. But if you just look at it in terms of squad, in terms of managers, in terms of form, in terms of everything, you go with Chelsea. You go with Chelsea. They've played in the bigger games this season. They've overcome that. They're in a Champions League final. They're not there for no reason. You know what I mean? So you give it to Chelsea as being the favourites, being the most likely to win. But Leicester have shown on many occasions that they can pull out a result and they can put in a performance. You saw them beat Man City only in year 5-2. I'm pretty sure did they beat Liverpool as well 2-0? Yeah, so they beat Man United obviously with a weakened side, but they still had to go beat us. You know what I mean? Like they still had to go, and I swear they made some changes as well. They've had their injuries too, so they're a good team, and Chelsea ain't gonna get it easy. This ain't gonna be no easy ride. Ain't gonna be they just roll over in a 4-5-0. Like no, this is gonna be a tight game. Chelsea would just edge it, but Leicester got a good chance.
I mean, they got Lampard sacked. You have to remember that, like the way they played that day, at the King Power. Leicester,
they beat you, man, as well, didn't they?
3-0.
Yeah, I remember that.
2-0, 2-0, 3-0, whatever. So when they're playing at their peak, they are a very, very good team. But at the same time, what Tuchel has done to this team, has been of course, there are some people who are saying this is what should have been happening with this squad anyway. But what we're seeing with the squad is what we expected. Do you know what I'm saying? From Tuchel. So when the going gets tough and you're comparing both peaks of both teams, I think we should get the job done. So yeah, man.
Oh, cameras here. Tag out. See you guys later.
Cheers, mate. Thank you, top man. I've got to do that movement. There he is. He's here with us now. He's here.
Guys. Something came up as I was apologies.
I hear that, mate. I hear that. KJ jumped in, which was cool. Listen, I give Chelsea out. They're the overwhelming favourites for this as it stands. But it's been a number of finals in the last 4 or 5 years, and Chelsea have actually been involved in 2 of them, where there's been an overwhelming favourite and the underdog has won. One of them, when we played you in the final with Jose and Conte, because of the situation with Conte, everyone was writing you off and you won. A year before that, when you played Arsenal, I remember watching professional pundits talk, and they said, "Oh, Arsenal got a chance," and people were laughing on screen because of how bad Arsenal were under Wenger, and then they went on to win. I think that would be the only fear I would have if I was a Chelsea fan going into this, that too many people around the club, journalists, fans, just seem to feel like it's going to be a walk in the park. And FA Cup finals tend, barring when Man City played Watford, they tend not to be like 3-4-0 games. Does that make sense?
I think it's a fair point, but I think when you consider it, it's when it's 2 big teams going up against each other. Like, no disrespect to Leicester, but I mean, there's the heritage club, so the Arsenals, the Man Cities, well, Man City, but Man United, Liverpool. When those teams go into finals, they tend to go with the team that is clearly the one in form, the one that's doing well. Like Chelsea should be going into that game and winning that game. Like there's no question about it. This is, I think, this core group under Brendan Rodgers, this is their first final, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So the nerves on their side will be there, being their first final. So we have to go in there, be professional. Like I was saying, that Monster was disagreeing with me heavily, but I think it's clear that mentality needs to shift, and there's obviously this mental thing within this Chelsea squad where, like, there was a bit of an arrogance, in my opinion. That's what I saw in the game against Arsenal, just a bit of an arrogance where you guys aren't champions yet. You guys are playing well, but you guys aren't champions yet. So that's why I said the loss was a good loss, because then we can use that as motivation. And that's what Tuchel was even saying in his press conference today. He made mention of the fact that he's still so annoyed about the Arsenal game, and that's what he's been drilling into his players. Like, you lot have missed a massive opportunity in one competition, so go out and get the job done in this competition so that we can carry on the momentum that we've had.
Yeah, I agree. How about yourself, Conroy? You know, you look at this from a neutral point of view. We had Lee Chappie on earlier in the show who kind of he's nervous, he's worried, he's concerned. He knows they're the underdogs, but he thinks they can go and do it. Chelsea, of course, have been sensational under Thomas Tuchel. There is no sort of denying that in any way, shape, or form. How do you see this game going?
I feel like I was thinking Chelsea, no problem, until the Arsenal game, and that has put a spanner in the works, to be honest. And Leicester, obviously, whatever way you want to say it, still getting a result at Old Trafford is no easy feat. So I feel like last week at the weekend, everyone's saying Leicester are going to bottle the top four, they're going to lose the FA Cup. But with those results Tuesday and Wednesday, I don't know, I'm changing my opinion a bit. I feel like everyone's been saying Leicester's last couple of games is what will get them out of the top four. But I think this season they've done pretty well against those teams, and it's maybe the Newcastles at home, the West Hams at home, where they've lost the season and like quite heavily. I'll be honest with you, I can actually see Leicester getting a result. I mean, you might disagree. I actually think it'll be a good game to watch. I think Chelsea, I don't think Tuchel's been found out or anything like that. I just think you couldn't finish your dinner against Arsenal. But I feel like Leicester, I don't know, I've got a feeling Leicester, I think when I watched them this season, I feel like there has been changes. As much as people want to say they'll bottle it again, I've got a feeling Leicester might get a result at the weekend. I feel like it might just be the way they've been run the last couple of years, and this is a good moment. And I don't know about yourself. I know, Daniel, you said during the week that you thought it was good to lose against Arsenal because it kind of humbles that team. But do you still feel that way now, or do you feel like that's a loss going into the finals is always a bad result, isn't it? But do you feel like it can maybe be used as a positive?
No, I disagree. I still believe what I've been saying consistently all through the week. The reason why I say that is because the reason why we lost to Arsenal was nothing that Arsenal did. It was all on us. It was the fact that we didn't finish our chances. We gave them the goal. Tuchel even said it. He said, if we didn't give Arsenal a goal, I don't see how they score in that game. And it's the same. We like one thing that like myself and Terry have always reiterated is that we actually do not concede that many chances over the course of a football match. We give a team a maximum, and I'm even stretching it, of 2 chances a game, unless you're considering the West Brom game, which was an anomaly. Like, we give a team 2 chances per game. So I still see more of the same thing where Tuchel can use that loss as almost like motivation, remind this team of what they need to do. And this is a young team. We've been in the FA Cup final. We just were in it last year. So we've got the experience of being in the final. Now all we need to do this year is get the job done. I think in any situation, whoever we were facing, there's always going to be that little bit of doubt there because it's Chelsea. We might not have shown we can get the job done in certain situations. But this week, we get the job done and finally win our first trophy with this core group, with this new age group.
Has Tuchel ever managed? Sorry, Terry. Has Tuchel ever? Have they ever came against each other before? Tuchel and Rodgers.
And Brendan Rodgers.
No, never would.
So that kind of makes it, from a neutral perspective, I find it fascinating as well, the tactical battle, because you've got people one side who think Rodgers is overrated, people who think he's underrated, and Tuchel, I'd probably say the same. I've been very impressed with Tuchel, so I'm quite looking forward to it, to be honest, guys. I know you're nervous, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm really looking forward to that. There's a potential upset. There is the potential. What I love about great teams in the making, like Chelsea are, is what happens in adversity. I'm really intrigued to see what I always am. When it's my team, I'd never want to see it, but everybody else's, I want to see what goes on with that. It's a great tactical battle as well between these two minds. I agree with what Daniel said, though, completely. The Arsenal game, 2 days afterwards, we're 2 days afterwards, all I keep reading is found out this, found out that, outplayed, outthought. And I'm sitting there thinking, Chelsea just missed sitters. It wasn't, that was all it was. It's a bit like Tyson Fury boxing Anthony Joshua's head off for 12 rounds, and then a haymaker catches Fury in the last moment, and AJ wins. Now, AJ wins the fight, but he didn't beat him up. Like, it weren't like he won. Did you get where I'm coming from? And that's how it felt. It felt like you got caught with a lucky last minute, although the goal wasn't last minute. It just felt like a lucky haymaker that ended the fight. If you played that again 10 more times, you're winning 9 of them, in my opinion. So I wouldn't read too much into that at all. And that's why I'm so intrigued about this final, though, to watch Chelsea bounce back, because they did it last time when they got beat by West Brom. A lot of people said, watch what happens now when they play. It was Atletico Madrid, I think, was your next game. And it was like, this is Simeone's team, top of the Liga, bye-bye Chelsea. Chelsea were scintillatingly good at what they had to do to beat them. And I kind of want Leicester. I do want Leicester to win because they're the underdogs. That's how I feel in FA Cups. But this isn't me trying to be disrespectful to Leicester. I can't look beyond Chelsea at all. I can't even make a case. The only way Chelsea lose is if they have a really bad moment defensively and miss all their chances. And how likely is that to happen? I don't know. But Chelsea, for me, beyond the doubt, the overwhelming favourites and should be picking up this trophy and adding it to their collection. And then moving on in preparation for the Champions League final, which is, I think, two weeks' time, which is just, it's mad. Like the two finals coming up and all these big games as well.
Just as a quick point, I almost feel as if like, and this is what I always say, I don't know if you guys ever feel like this, but you know, Old Trafford and Wembley, yeah, I just feel like their nets are just bigger. They look bigger from TV. So I just say with Chelsea, we need the net to be as big as possible and we won't miss our chances. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we create so many. I think since Tuchel's come in, we've got
number one chances created.
We've got number one chance creation, big chances created. We're number one in all those categories. But then you look at our expected goals and we're down on that. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's because of how many chances that we miss. So I just anticipate us, the big guys coming back in. So surprise, surprise, Werner will come back into the team. Kante will come back into the team. Christensen is fully fit as well. So Zuma will not be on that left side of the centre-back line, centre-back free, sorry. So yeah, like all the main guys will come back into the team hopefully, and like we'll get the job done, man.
Is there anyone you fear from Leicester, like in their point of view? Because I've not checked the teams yet, but I imagine Maddison will start. Or I know there's been a bit of issues in the team, but I feel like Leicester's best chance. I agree. I don't think he's found it or anything like that, and what Terry's saying. But I just feel like Maddison is the threat that they've got, that he can pull something out of nowhere. That's the one. I'm intrigued. I think tactically,
Maddison. I'm more worried about Iheanacho. You know, guys who are having a purple patch can literally score goals out of nothing.
He's been
the goal
insane.
he scored against
Newcastle.
They played Newcastle, yeah.
When he bottom
that
corner,
goal
yeah.
doesn't, like 9 times out of 10, when you're not informed, that does not go in because that was a terrible shot. But because he's informed, because he's so informed, he could just shoot and it would like. And Kepa's in goal. Like Kepa's in goal.
Jenny, I was going to say I'm worried about long shots. More than anything, I'm worried about long shots because even though our chance, like the chances we concede are far less quality, so teams score less goals against us. That's how Tuchel's managed to improve our defense so much. But just a long shot from anywhere, teams will see Kepa in goal and go, "We'll have a pop because why not?" Yeah. Because he struggles to save it outside the box. So
that's a great point. That was one of my questions. I wanted to move on to looking at your team tomorrow. Kepa's going to start. That's been confirmed. Are you happy about that? Concerned about it? I mean, you want to win this tournament. I mean, why play someone that's renowned for being dodgy in a final?
He's the cup keeper, innit? And Tuchel's been consistent in that he will start all the cup games. I think it is a bit of a Chelsea in-house thing where you play him as much as you can because we're trying to sell him and we're trying to get valuation for him. It's kind of a Marina thing that she always does. We get value for all the players that are at our club, no matter how bad they are. I can guarantee you we're still going to get like 20 million for Danny Drinkwater. Do you know what I'm saying? Because somehow she finds a way to rejig it and all of that. But Kepa, I think there's a bit of an in-house thing on that part of things. And I've even spoken to a couple of people who have said that it's a bit like when Willian was at the club and he was continuously taking bad corners, but he was continuously the corner taker. Apparently there was something in his contract where he said he wants to take the corners. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's that. And then there's also the fact that like you don't want to kill you can't go all through because Kepa was basically the number one. He's not a number two. Like, do you know what I'm saying? He was brought in as the number one. So you can't go, he plays every single cup game except the final. Like it will ruffle feathers in the camp. Me personally, as a manager, I would have started Mendy, but maybe that's why I'm not a manager, the chemistry and all of that kind of stuff.
I mean, maybe we all know Kepa's got a big ego. Like,
yeah.
I don't know how he still has it, but he's like £70 million goalkeeper, so he thinks he should be the guy. So he's not going to want to sit on the bench, especially when there's a chance to win a trophy. Like,
do you think that comes from Tuchel being at PSG and dealing with like let's say, big personalities in place of another word, like, and having to kind of keep the group happy of maybe egos, and maybe that's how he's got around that to keep the camp good, because a few managers do that for some reason. They always seem to play the keep cupper, but I always thought if you get to the final, your best chance of winning is the team you play, like, because nothing's guaranteed.
You know, I think it is Conroy, though. I think at football clubs now, I think we spoke about this on this channel, and most YouTubers speak about this at some point. The mentality shift in players now to say 10, 20 years ago, they're far more sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you actually see things now in football that existed a little bit in Rooney, Gerrard's day, because they would sometimes be at the same 5-star resort in Barbados together. But you see players from rival clubs publicly outgoing as friends. That never used to happen. It was, if you're a Man United player, you're friends with your Man United teammates, and it was screw everybody else. That sort of changed. And I get this sense now at football clubs where there's an element of it could damage everybody's relationship with Tuchel if Kepa was mistreated. If you look what happened to Lampard, the players know that Ben Chilwell is better overall than Alonso. But the way Alonso was treated, the way Tomori was treated, for two examples, I think it upset a lot of other players in the team, because there's this notion, and we all do it at work nowadays, where it's like, all right, my boss and me get on, that's great, but he mistreats that person over there. At some point, that could be me that's being mistreated. So I need to stand up and do something. The world's changed very, very much. And I think it's a case of keeping Kepa sweet, because it keeps the rest of the squad sweet. It's a slight risk. It's a big risk when you go into this game, because, as you say, Iheanacho with these long shots from nowhere or whatnot, who knows what could happen in these games. But a good opportunity to put him in the shop window. You know, if he has a good cup final, you can then hopefully use that in the market. Say, look, you know, he's done really well under Tuchel. He wants to be the number one somewhere, but we have Mendy now. Let's put him out there, you know, and whatnot. But it's an interesting one. In terms of the middle, the reports this afternoon have updated that Kovacic is going to be back. Jorginho had a nightmare the other day with the mistake leading to the goal. Daniel, who starts in central midfield for Chelsea tomorrow?
Jorginho and Kante. I mean, it's always going to be Jem who comes in and is like, Jorginho this, Jorginho that. Doesn't see him as the long-term guy. But at the end of the day, Jorginho, like, I've been consistent in saying that Jorginho is a quality player who, if you give him a system that protects him, because that's the kind of player he is, he needs to be protected within the system, you'll see the best of him. And that's what Tuchel did. Tuchel put him alongside Kante. I thought, like, remember against Man City, Jorginho comes in and has an impact. And I'm thinking, okay, Jorginho and Billy Gilmour, it seems like it worked. But then on the back of things, I think Jorginho and Billy Gilmour work in certain situations. They don't work in all games. Jorginho needs a partner like Kante, or even Kovacic as well, just based on the experience, that can almost do everything that he can't do. Do you know what I'm saying? I think Billy Gilmour is very, very similar in a lot of ways.
I think he's gearing up to be the replacement of.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, in the way where they're both technical, they're not that strong, they're not really quick, but they're very, very smart, intelligent players.
It's crazy to think he's Scottish, because that's the opposite of any like in Scotland. You have to be able to, like, it's got to be physical all the time. And that's why he's went to Chelsea, and that's why he's like been amazing, because he's getting that protection, and it's just focusing on.
Exactly.
Honestly, I was going to ask you guys, just on this, not to take it off a tangent, but obviously the Scotland squad are getting announced soon. A lot of people aren't thinking about Gilmour because he's not playing enough games, and I agree with that. But see, against Man City the other day, because you watch all the games, do you think he's actually improving consistency in his performances, or do you still think he's still a bit raw now and again?
I'd say he's still raw, personally. Again, people see me as like this youth hater. I just think that youth are like naturally, like,
and he's properly youth as well,
like,
David. Like he is exactly, really young.
Like,
you know
naturally, they just aren't consistent. So I'm not upset he hasn't got minutes. I'm not shocked that he hasn't got minutes. But for Scotland, I mean, will he do a much worse job than a McTominay, or like?
Kind of got a system, really. Scotland though, but sorry, I didn't mean to put a tangent. Sorry.
But McTominay plays as a defender, doesn't he? So
in a free,
I look at Gilmour. I think you can see the talent, but he also plays like centre back. I think strikers, midfielders, and centre backs, the core of a team, are very hard when you're a kid. Mm-hmm. Their experience in those roles is so important. I think when you're an inside forward, when you're a young fullback, even to a degree like a number 10 or an attacking midfielder, you you can get away with a lot of mistakes because it takes one special moment and everybody forgives you. That anchor role in midfield, almost, it's such a hard one to master. And the one thing I don't think it helps Billy at the minute, he's tiny. Like the guy, it's like he's shrunk in the wash. Like he's really small. And I think he needs to, you can be brilliant at that and be small. Kante is a prime example of that, but he hasn't got that strength yet. And I saw in the few games he's played recently, just maybe bullied a little bit off the ball. It puts him off of his game and everything else. I actually think he could do with a proper loan move. And I know that I always say like a lot of players leave and go on loan and never actually come back. That's if they've done 2, 3, 4 loans. I say find him maybe even a Premier League club that plays similar football to what Tuchel wants. Give him a year away where he's going to get game time. He's going to get opportunity, where he's allowed to make mistakes and nobody really cares to the same degree. Because it's like at Chelsea, the same as Man United, Liverpool. You make 3 or 4 mistakes over a month period, people want you out of that team. Like they just want you. It's only a few months ago on this channel, Mount's teacher's pet, brings his apple to training, like no one wanted him around. And now suddenly he's like better than Grealish, Like we know what fans are like. It's crazy. So you go with that. You're going to stick 3 at the back as an example. What about the attacking lineup, David? Who starts in your kind of 3-pronged attack as a striker and the sort of like two inside forward 10s? I don't know what you call them nowadays. I'm so confused. But who starts? Who's your front 3?
I think Werner's a must. I know. Again, everyone's like, oh, he just misses big chances. He's not even like good at football. All he does is tap and run. I understand. Yeah, I know he doesn't look great playing football, but he's key. He's absolutely key. Like I don't think we've won a game without him when he hasn't started. I think that's how bad it is. Like he needs to be playing football for us. So I think Werner's an absolute must. I think Mount's an absolute must, especially in the final as well, because he'll want it more than anybody else. Because he's been at Chelsea since he was it 5 years old? Like he'll want it as well. You get into that last spot, and it's like you could have Pulisic, could have Havertz, could have Ziyech. Ziyech's a big game player for us. He's been a really big game player for us. But I think I'd go Havertz on this one. I think I'd play those 3. Mount like dropping in a bit deeper and have those 2 playing off each other up front because they have quite a good link up. But the good thing about our squad is that we have too many options. That's a good thing. Like I haven't even mentioned Hudson-Odoi. He didn't have a great game, but he's still an option and can be very important in the squad. So I don't know what Tuchel's gonna do.
What I was even going to say is that, like, regardless, just prepare to be surprised. There's going to be one surprise in that team lineup, which is going to turn the Chelsea fan base into meltdown. I've learned not to melt down anymore about Tuchel's lineups and like just trust whatever he does. Like we just go into the game and just hope it works out because I just have a feeling he's going to do something crazy in that front 3. Or maybe Havertz gets dropped or something like that, and you didn't expect
Hudson-Odoi just
starts. Yeah, literally.
Sometimes, do you know what's crazy? Do you know what I love about decisions like that? Is sometimes that spanner in the works sets your opponents off going, we haven't prepared for that. And that's the point. Like, I know that it hasn't always worked for Pep. It didn't always work for Fergie. But they do it on a regular basis where you think, we all pretty much know who's going to start. And it's like, Park Ji-sung started as a striker. What's going on? And it's sort of like, and invariably, the top managers get it right, if that makes sense. I know Potts used to try it a few times, didn't quite work. But there we go. We've opened up the phone lines, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to phone up and have your say, we're going to take your calls on this final. The link's in the comment section. It's also over on the Discord server as well. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you think and feel ahead of this final. Also, the Haaland news, gents. We haven't actually spoke about it since you've all been on today. Now, that don't work with the overlay on, Terry. So try that again. It's all new. We've got all new stuff. Good, but I don't know how it all works yet. The Haaland move is kind of being spoken about and discussed. You're talking to his agent and his father still. Doesn't appear that Chelsea think it's dead at this point, although Dortmund have said it's not for thou. What's your thoughts on that, Dan?
Haaland. Well, I think if there are, like, I've been as a fan, I want Haaland. Like, I think every Chelsea fan wants Haaland. I just think realistically, 150 million doesn't seem like it will happen, and it will be way more than 100. Like, it will be a colossal deal. I think it will be close to what PSG had to pay for Mbappe in terms of the total package, and they even had to send him back on loan, pay it in a tremendous amount of installments and all of that kind of stuff. And Chelsea have never really done that. Like, we've broken the bank, but this would be literally like putting all the oil and putting all your money into one player. So I don't see it happening this year. I really don't. But there are other options, man. We do need a striker, but there are other options. And we've seen many times where Chelsea, I think, getting the almost striker that you don't expect to be the marquee guy. Like, because when Diego Costa came in, a lot of Chelsea fans didn't really know much about Diego Costa. He had one great season at Atletico Madrid, but he wasn't like, do you know what I'm saying? So I think maybe that's the kind of mold of striker we need to go for. Same as Didier Drogba. When you think about all the marquee guys we've had, Crespo, Torres, Shevchenko, all these marquee guys have not lived up to the reputation that they've.
Yeah, Drogba shout because I remember the season before he played against Liverpool and it was a UEFA Cup, and I just remember thinking this guy is ridiculous, just like unbelievable. Yeah. And then it's funny because that's a great point actually, because I was thinking about that myself. I think it'll be like a monopoly effect. I feel like if someone signs Haaland, like so say Chelsea sign Haaland, I think Kane's getting bought by someone, even if it's Europe or the Premier League. I think there could be a monopoly effect for strikers this summer.
The thing is about Haaland for me is that, like, I want Haaland. Of course I do. If we get Haaland, I will be in everyone's DMs, everyone's chat saying we've got the best striker in the world for the next how many years. However, the problem is that, like, we're so confident that Haaland will work that if he doesn't, it will be like
Daniel.
I know. I don't. He will work. He will work. But you have to believe that there's a 10% in you because it's Chelsea that he might not. And if he doesn't,
he is pretty good.
You know, the thing is, right? I know. Like Werner came over and was like, "Oh, I really struggled with the physicality of the Premier League." Did you see what happened yesterday? Because Dortmund won the knockout. He put Upamecano on the floor. Like he literally Upamecano went to tackle him, and he just shoulder barged him, and Upamecano was on the floor, and he was shook. Like, this guy is the next guy. He's the next one. I'm so confident.
If someone said
confident,
David, if someone said to you, you can have Haaland, but he's the only guy we sign, obviously considering how much he costs. But Sancho, when we sign like two other guys, like a centre back and a centre midfielder, like because Tuchel's gone to Abramovich and said he wants Verratti, for example. So if we get Sancho, Verratti, and maybe a centre back, or only Haaland, what would you take?
I mean, the smart option is, the three players, but I want Haaland. Like, I just do want Haaland. There's just, I don't know. It's hard to put into words. He's just so good.
I understand what Daniel's saying about the concern of it. Whenever you sign a player for gargantuan money, there is always that fear that it doesn't work. There is always that fear of, it's the embarrassment as well of it as it not working. When you sign Dan James is being rubbish at Man United. I care because I wanted him to be good, but I don't care because he cost £15 million. And in this climate, that's a pittance, if that makes sense. Where whenever we sign a big money player now, because of the embarrassment, really and truly, of Di Maria, Lukaku to a degree, I don't think Maguire's been as bad as people make out, but yeah, he gets ridiculed. There's that fear of dropping 80, 90. So even with Sancho, the reason I'm happy, Sancho's going to cost 70 to 80 million. That's still very high, but it's lower than what we were quoted last year of 120 million. Because especially attacking players, if you sign Haaland for 150 million, he has to score over 40 goals a year every year for people not to be on his back. And it's a lot of pressure for anyone to take. Where maybe if you sign a Martinez, maybe if you sign an Andre Silva, just to throw some names out there, at 35, 40 million, it's just a little bit less pressure on them to go out there and deliver. But on Haaland, I watched the highlights of the I didn't even know the final was on last night because I was all gearing up to the Man United game. And then last night, KJ's up there, they won 4-1. It was a brace from both. And I watched them, and anyone who's like Sancho, I went into the stats on it earlier and looked at Sancho's professional career, 123% efficiency, goals, contributions to game ratio as a pro in one of the top. Imagine, and I've looked and I've been searching, and I'm surprised none of the big stat accounts have done this yet. I don't really tweet it because I don't really get any traction with stats. But I can't find a player in the history of European football who in their first 113 professional games at a club in one of the big leagues, not someone who's in Austria or Norway, but in the big leagues, in their first 113 professional games, they've contributed 123 goals. It's never, ever happened. I don't think people realize how good Sancho is. It's just ridiculous, like what he's delivered.
You know he's a good player. You know he's a good player.
So go on.
I was going to say, you know he's a good player when people are saying this season he's had a bad season. When he's got over 20.
And then you know from January, David, from January he just exploded. Like he just went crazy. I think it was the same thing with Greenwood
as well. He's been injured as
same
well.
thing with Greenwood though, because people didn't factor in Greenwood's mental, the stuff that was going on off the pitch, and he's still a young guy, and then he goes on. I think Greenwood has got 10 Premier League goals this season.
Greenwood's got more goal contributions than Saka, and everyone was saying Saka's had this amazing season.
Yeah, I'm saying that
stat was about 7-8 games ago. He scored even more. But on the Haaland thing, what Haaland did to Upper Meccano,
that's Bayern's new big centre back as well.
Sit down, Sonny. Basically said, sit down. He really did. We're going to go to some calls now for you to all come on and have your say, to ask some questions. I'm going to do this and try and take off the right overlays and get us into the right screen while these outro things play. So let's see if this works. Hey, it worked. That's how it worked. We've got to change all the transitions, but I like this. I'm liking this overlay today. Who are we going to go to first? We're going to go to M. Just M is the name. I don't know who M is, but M, welcome to the terrace. What do you want to say?
What are you saying, man? What's everyone saying, man?
All good, brother. Who'd you support?
Chelsea, man, of course, man.
What's your thoughts and feelings ahead of the game, my guy?
I don't know, man. You see what Daniel was saying about the mentality? These players need to pattern up, because I can't lie, like losing to Arsenal, I think it's just criminal, fam. We ain't lost at the Stamford Bridge against Arsenal in like 10 years. They ain't done a double over us in 17 years, so it was a hard one to take, but I feel like tomorrow the players will probably turn up. I agree with David. I think Ziyech has to start because he's a big game player, and I think we'll win tomorrow. I think we'll win comfortably, innit? As long as Ziyech and Werner start, I think we'll do well, man. But yeah, man.
Mate, I hear you. I do hear you on that. I think you'll win comfortably as well tomorrow, and you'll put that Arsenal game to bed.
But I feel like Tuchel needs to take some accountability, because everyone knows Zuma can't play in a back three, and he still does it, which is the annoying thing. Like, I think
he did. Remember in the presser, he said they actually asked him, "Oh, what do you think went wrong?" And he said, "Oh, I know what went wrong." He said, "I saw something in training, but I decided to ignore it as well." Like Tuchel, the one thing I like about him, that obviously I don't like to do the comparison thing, but this is something that Lampard needs to learn going forward, is he takes accountability and actually breaks down a lot of the game. He speaks to the fans, in it. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you go back and watch that presser, he actually says, "Oh, I made a massive mistake and I'll never make that mistake again." So I think he is talking about Zuma, because Zuma on the left side of the free is it's terrible. It's criminal, bro.
But
criminal.
I hear that still, man. As long as you don't play him tomorrow, it's calm, innit?
Yeah.
But I feel like, I think we'll win, man. I think we'll win comfortably, innit?
I think you will as well. What's interesting, though, is do any of you Chelsea fans have that same thought? You know, when you played City in the league last week, and it was losing the league to win the final, would you rather lose the FA Cup final tomorrow and win in the Premier League, or vice versa? If you had to choose one of
them. Do you know what it is, Terry? Because we're Chelsea, we got to go for both, innit? There's no, like, one or the other. Do you get me? We have to go for both. And I feel like,
if I'm God and I come out the sky right now and like, yo, Chelsea fans, I don't think God would say yo, but yo, he might do. They say he's all of us. If he's all of us, he definitely says that. If he says, yo, you've got to pick one. You can't win both. You can only win one of them. Which of the two are you winning? Which of the games are you going to take?
I'm losing FA Cup final.
Yeah, word. Champions League's bigger, isn't it?
You'll win other FA Cups. I mean, you will win other.
That literally.
We need. Man United failed to do it, but Burnley, Chelsea and Burnley, we need to come together and condemn Liverpool to Europa League, because Man United couldn't do it. What Sam Allardyce, you wanted to beat us 5-2, beat them 6-2. Just someone do something. Just condemn them, please.
Yeah, but that's Chelsea for you this season. Like we're so stupid. Like, do you know what I'm saying? That's why the City win was actually bigger than we thought. That City win was bigger than we thought, because not knowing, because we beat City, and the Arsenal thing that we lost to them. Now, like, we're lucky that we beat City. If it was a draw, we would have been fucked. but we're lucky in it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
There we go. Listen, Em, thanks for calling in, mate, and having your say. Top man. Appreciate it, mate. Thank you very much, my guy. Why is Haaland more expensive than Sancho? Well, I know there was a big Twitter debate the other day where you had a goalie. I don't know who the goalie was. It might have been Rob Green. You had Rio jumping in they're all claiming what was the hardest position. That's
Fabregas and Owen as well.
Yeah. Fabregas and Owen. Yeah.
We all everyone's going to have a different opinion of what the hardest position is. What I will say though is quite simple. The most expensive players are always the goal scorers. Goal scorers are seen by clubs as the rarest commodity. That's why they're worth more money. So, yeah, that's why he's more expensive. A few people call me a stat merchant as well for the way I bigged up Jadon Sancho. Okay, so do I even need to explain his intelligence, his touch, his dribbling ability, his passing ability, the fact that he can use both feet? You'll know this, David, because you're very well. Actually, David and Daniel both very well educated. Conroy, you might be well educated, but I don't know. What's the feet version of ambidextrous? Like ambidextrous with your hands, with your feet. Is it? It's got a different name.
It's 2 footed.
Yeah, I love it. I swear it's like I want to say like petty something because your feet, but I don't know. Someone with a brain in the comment section, let us know. But yeah, like Jadon Sancho isn't just stats. Jadon Sancho is eye test and stats together. Anyone who denies that, you're mad. Someone's gonna know. Oh, look at that. See, man, like KJ. How do I say that?
Ampipedo.
I'm just gonna say 2-footed. It's a lot easier, isn't it?
Yeah, it sounds better, to be honest.
Sounds better. We're gonna go to Rack, who's a Liverpool fan. He looks like the cat who got the cream. He really. I hope. No, I'm not gonna say that live on the air. There we. How you doing, mate? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, Terry. How are you, mate? You all right?
What's in the Chelsea game coming up, mate?
Yeah, it's gonna be a good game. Brendan Rodgers, serial bottler. But I will be supporting our former manager tomorrow, and tomorrow or Sunday, whenever it is.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. So I mean, I think Chelsea are going to win, but you never know because if Leicester get the first goal, Chelsea have to come out. They may their defense may kind of not be as good as most are expecting, or at least since as good as they have been since Thomas Tuchel came in, and they could cause them some problems. Leicester are a good team, and you just need a couple of chances, and they could do enough. But it's going to be a good game, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean it will be. And do you think it's going to set up any kind of precursor for the big game in the league on Tuesday, Wednesday?
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously the team that loses is not going to be on a high in terms of confidence. But they're two different games, and you would like to say not, but again, human nature is human nature. But I would in that game in particular, I would either like Leicester to win or to draw because that just opens that door that little bit wider for us, and I only care about us, so that's it.
I honestly, honest to God, I just hope that everything goes the way Liverpool want, and then they lose to Burnley, because then it's even funnier. Because then there's no excuses, none like no, it's not none of that, mate. I can't. I'll be great.
That's exactly what I fear too. That's exactly what I fear too. It's possible.
If Chelsea beat Leicester, they go on to 67, and they beat Villa, they go on to 70. And then Leicester win their last game, they also go on to 69. Can Liverpool still make it?
Yeah, because obviously if Leicester lose, do you know what I'm saying? Because Leicester have got Chelsea.
Leicester play Chelsea, so someone's going to drop points. That's how it works.
No, what I'm saying is, if we beat Leicester, so then we go into 67, and they'll be on 66. Yeah, and then if both of us win on the last day, obviously Chelsea will have 70.
Remember, Liverpool have the extra game.
Yeah, we've got a game in hand.
And goal difference as well. Yeah. Goal difference.
Yeah, it's basically that if Liverpool win, from this point moving forward, if Liverpool win their last 3 games, they will make the champion. It doesn't matter what Chelsea or Leicester do; they both can't make it as it stands right now because Man United got slapped.
I wasn't going to say anything, Tel, but
we did. Listen. You know me. I call a spade a spade. We got slapped, and do you know the worst part about it? It doesn't really impact my season, but I really wanted yours to be ruined, and it's not. You know what I mean? It's just,
Still, it's United against Liverpool at the end of the day, Terry. We try to build it like that, but as soon as that game starts, I'm nervous, and just the heart's pounding. I don't think you can change that. I think it's just the game.
Do you know what actually surprised me about that game above everything else? We've been gassing up Man United versus Liverpool for how many years now, and we always get 0-0s. And suddenly it's a 4-2 game, for no reason. And I don't know if you guys felt the same thing, but I didn't even feel like it was a 4-2 game, if that makes sense. I didn't think it was end to end. It just
what do you
was
think
weird.
Was closer, or
I think Liverpool deserved to win, but
if Rashford finishes that chance at the end of the game, it's 4-3 because I don't think
if Greenwood scores, if Greenwood, do you know what I'm saying? 3-3, so yeah.
Both teams have moments. You're right, Daniel. Man United dominated. I thought when I watched it back yesterday evening, opening 20, 25 minutes, United were better, and then Liverpool came on strong and got their goals. Liverpool started the second half, first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, slapping us about. Should have gone 3. We went 3-1 up. Should have gone 4-1 up. We made the changes, and we came back into it. We could have got it back to 3-3. But one thing, Gary, it's hard because people always look at it and say, you're giving excuses. We weren't at the races partly because it was like beach mentality, like end of the season mentality. And when you play in a game like that where one team, why often you see those relegation fighting teams play a mid-table side.
Sorry, that was my phone. Sorry. Sky Sports breaking news.
Breaking news on Sky Sports.
Who wants to be a millionaire there?
Man, Chris Tarrant or Chris Tarrant.
You know what's mad? My dad watches reruns of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire from 10 years ago. I'm like, this happened 10 years ago. It makes no sense.
But it's still a quiz, though, isn't it? The answers are still the same. Well, within reason, it might be. But if there's a question about world records or something, it might have changed the standards right now. But yeah, there's someone's put a comment in here about Jadon Sancho actually. So hang on a minute. True. Okay, that's what one's true. Basically saying, it is not true that Bayern Munich will bid for Jadon Sancho this summer, but Liverpool and of course Man United are interested. No disrespect to Christian, but Dean Jones gave us that information a week ago. Come on, we told you that a week ago. Where you been? Told you this. We told you this. Nothing's changed. Liverpool want him, but they've got to sell first. Bayern want him, they ain't got the peas. Man United want him, we run like shit. That's why that's crazy. Chelsea want him, but they ain't looking at him because they've got to sell then not because they've got the money, but they've got about 100 players to play in that position. That's it. Every one of these journalists at the minute keeps giving out the same information. But they package it in a different way. Do you know what I mean? It's like Roses and Quality Streets are the same shit chocolates. They just got different names, bruv. Do you know what I mean?
I remember when you used to do breakdowns of stories and go back to the source. So someone's reported it, but that's come from another report, and that's come from another report, and then that's come from a report from Don Ballon or something stupid like that. That's basically worthless.
Well, that's what happens a lot now. The thing of it is, we do a lot of transfer stories on the terrace, and we always will. But the idea is this is what it's been said. This is where it's come from. This is the story so far. It isn't to try and give you. Sometimes it is. There's breaking news, an official bid's gone in. Let's talk about it. But sometimes it's like, and we're going to add some graphics in to make this better moving forward. It's like this is what you're being told, but this is the actual truth. You know what I mean? Or it was a story that went out the other day, and everyone was buzzing about it. And then I was like, whoa! It's like so now. What? You know, have you seen the scene in Goonies where they think they found the money? Right, and it's the printing machine. It's printing the fake money, like $50 bills, $50, and they're all getting excited because they think they've got all the money, and then it turned out to be fake. That's what it was because it was a Sun newspaper story, and it was from the Sun, and then everyone was like, "Oh," like that. And that's my point. I love doing that sort of stuff because I'm not saying Christian Fuchs is wrong, but it's got 2,000 retweets in 2 minutes. But I'm like, bruv. Somebody else told us this a week ago. I don't get why it's suddenly breaking news. Anyway, maybe that's just me. Ryan here with a super chat says, if Chelsea win the last 2 games and Leicester beat Spurs and Liverpool win all their games, they will be on the same points. Leicester and goal difference is close. I don't know.
No, because Liverpool will go on to 69 and Leicester will go on to 69. So then it would go down to goal difference. Obviously, Liverpool have an extra game.
Hang on.
Yeah, because naturally, if you win a game, then your goal difference is going to be positive.
Goes up.
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, so if Liverpool, that's why it's still Liverpool would make it because say Liverpool won their last 3 games 3-0, they go to plus 23. The only way it would work if Leicester would have to win their last game,
They'd have to smash Ryan Mason's Spurs to
smash
pieces.
Spurs, yeah, but
Yeah, that's not happening.
no.
They're not going to smash Spurs. If they beat Spurs, they can beat Spurs, but they're not going to beat them like 4-0 or something like that. That's
I mean,
not
we've got Crystal Palace at home last game of the season with fans, so you'd like to think that we do okay as well.
Yeah, I think
because that's supposed to beat Palace in the past is 1-12.
Oh, can you imagine? That would be the most.
To Roy Hodgson.
Gerrard's last home game, 3-1 loss to Palace, Balassi masterclass. Genuinely, Palace
Gerrard's last game, full stop, was like a 5-0 loss to Stoke.
That was 6-1. It was 3-1
again. They let him score. The guy could have tackled him.
I love it. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much for tuning in to us this evening. Make sure you're back later tonight for more coverage from the Football Terrace. But until next time, take care of yourselves. Goodbye.